Fine, but that's okay. The next briefings will be relatively short, going through the METs, the individual tasks, and the unit training calendar itself. We'll try to limit it to maybe one dialogue per team. This is going to be a pretty intensive lesson. We're going to go through it, and I'll be asking questions, but we'll try to keep the emphasis on the information itself. Let's see. Let me put it on. Okay. Okay, we good? Anyone ever see?
Yep, you're good, Mr. Hackett.
Okay, we're good. Okay, think of this. Think of a past training event you participated in. Was it a great event or a horrible one? Or was it just mediocre? I've seen a lot of you people been to the 10TC itself, so just think or was it mediocre, withheld from reaching its potential due to any number of reasons? Whose fault was it?
That it's plugged in.
Do you think it was a planner's fault, or the leader's fault, or the actual participant's fault? No answer, just thought I'd pass it out there. I think basically it's always going to be the leader's responsibility to keep the training events tight and achieving those end states and goals. Okay, what are the Army's principles of training? How you got training to fight. Training is a command-driven exercise. Training is led by trained officers and NCOs, obviously. You train to standard. You train using appropriate doctrine. You train as training is protected. Training is resourced, and training to sustain, training to maintain, and of course you train in multi-echelon and combined arms and using realistic training objectives. How do we train to standard? Anybody? Okay, standard is excuse me?
We complete the mission.
Yep. Training is the required level of proficiency required to accomplish the task or mission. How do we, what do we use? What does a soldier use to train to standard? Or what does a leader use to train to standard?
Cats.
Following the match, going through, following doctrine.
Yep. What we're going to go into great detail here is what they call a training and evaluation outline criteria matrix. It contains a task, conditions, standards, and performance objectives. Has anybody used a training plan in their unit, or has anybody actually developed a UTP, a unit training plan, and used a TNO?
I have to listen to
Yeah, that was pretty much standard practice for us. We always did the quarterly unit training briefs, and everything was just built straight off of like the mission essential tasks. Okay, great. I thought so. Just want to make sure we're on the same playing field. You people are probably more experienced than I am in using the UTP, since it's been a long time since I've been a company commander, but the training is still training, and it still accomplishes objectives, and it's still you train as you fight. Okay, how does the operation process align with unit training? Obviously, the operation process, the commander is central to the process. The process is always planning, preparing, executing, and assisting. And it's always following it's central to the planning process, and we train the same way as the operational process. So the operational process, you will go through in great detail in MDMP. It's usually used at battalion and higher. The unit training process is used at company below it, but they're pretty much the same format. So the commander is always central to training. The training cycle begins with a top-down guidance from higher headquarters. In MDMP, you're going to get that guidance from the brigade op order in the essential tasks. Guidance determines collective training to task. You'll use the collective training to come up with your METs, your mission essential tasks. Commanders develop the UTP to conduct training in allotted time. Time is always going to be at a premium, and this is why you're going to develop, again, one of the exercises here, a unit training calendar. and long-range objectives. And MDMP is also followed for battalion and above. UTP is followed for company and below, as I just mentioned. Okay, the training and unit training management. Company and below use the troop planning procedure and planning process, and it's an 8-step process. The TLP is a dynamic process used to analyze mission, develop a plan, and prepare and execute the operation. As you see here, the basic concepts, you start with mission analysis. Then you go to the strategy, develop a unit training plan, and then you execute. And the troop leading procedures follow. You receive the mission, you issue a warning order. You make a tentative plan, you conduct reconnaissance, and you complete the plan. And again, you issue the order itself. The big thing is training. The TLP is flexible, does not require staff, and uses the operation process. It's a lot more flexible than the MDMP process, which is iterative, and you have certain cycles to go through, as you will go through in a couple of weeks. Why does the commander's training responsibility align with the operational process? How do the training responsibilities align with the operation? What are the major activities and responsibilities of the commanders and unit training? You use the same procedure you're using as the operational process. You're going to lead through the purpose, direction, and motivation. The commander is going to have to understand the mission of the unit, must execute and tie it to the commander's intent, to that higher order from higher headquarters. He's going to have to visualize the training end state, what the unit must accomplish and what task it must accomplish. Also, he has to describe this training. He has to describe how the training will be accomplished, training guidance, and the unit training plan, and he must publish the unit training guidance. And of course, he must direct, be present at all training exercises, conduct training meetings, plan, prepare, execute training, and continually assess the unit training proficiency. Commanders provide the training focus and direction, and provide the resources. Resources take time. They have to be programmed out. You have to provide resources well in advance to make sure, because you'll be competing with other companies and other platoons for those resources and training fields. They train and resource units 1 echelon down and 2 echelons down. They resource 1 echelon and train 2 echelons down. Why 2 echelons down? We mentioned that before, because brigade commanders are mostly concerned about maneuver units, not the lower headquarters initially. They are responsible for assessing unit training proficiency and prioritizing the unit training, specifically the METs. They identify the METs from the higher order, usually in the essential training. We'll go into that, the essential tasks, but they also must prioritize these METs so they can be accomplished in the allotted time. Individual and collective training. Individual training obviously is the foundation for readiness. A unit's readiness is directly tied to the ability of its soldiers and Army civilians to perform specified tasks related to an assigned duty position or skill level. In the training I was writing for the warrant officers and property book and warehousing, we had to use critical tasks. Critical tasks had to be, again, developed on task, condition, and standard. Those critical tasks had to be taught during that exercise, either the lesson at the institution or in the field. Collective tasks, those are the interactive tasks between individuals and organizations that contribute to the unit's training objectives and mission essential tasks. This is where you'll primarily be responsible for what we call the crawl, walk, and run training performance objectives. Your collective tasks are your METs. That's actually what you're going to be attaining your trained readiness evaluations on. Okay, how do we tie all these responsibilities overlap? Commanders are solely responsible, obviously, for all the training performance of their units. But you have officer training, NCO training, and leader training. Commanders assign primary responsibilities to officers for collective training and individual and soldier training, and what we call battle task training. That's all in the responsibilities of the NCOs. The commander is also responsible to meld the leader and soldier training requirements into collective training events using multi-echelon techniques. Subordinate leaders provide feedback constantly on unit training proficiency, identify specific training needs, and execute training as to standard. This team effort maintains a training focus, establishes training and priorities, and enables effective communication between echelons. Any questions so far? Okay, here, how do we apply all this unit management? How do we apply all this to unit training management? Obviously, we go into the same preparation as the operation, as the operational process. We plan, prepare, execute, and assess. We begin with the commander's training guidance. That's what task must the unit train. This is based on you get the training guidance from hierarchicals, and you begin the mission analysis, which determines the objectives, the final objectives and end state of your training. The mission analysis back brief. You brief the results of your mission analysis to the next your higher commander, and you get approval of the training match. Following the briefing, the training briefing is given to the brigade commander, who provides an overview. Each subordinate battalion commander and sergeant major brief their individual UTPs. The company commanders are present, but do not actually brief the role. The training briefings result in a contract or a connection between commanders. The brigade commander, unit commanders agree the training as described in their plans. Then they publish the training plan itself. The UTP identifies the training events crucial to the training readiness. A brigade UTP, the UTP will be published in the form of a 5-paragraph field order. Each training event has preparation activities such as pre-combat checks, your individual and crew training, and inspections. The right side is where you actually begin the training development itself. This is the execution of training. The diagram here shows the training events are conducted in the crawl, walk, and run methodology, and each part of the training event is assessed as it's performed. The run event is represented by the external evaluation, which is intended to achieve the unit training readiness. The end state, of course, is unit training readiness. How does the unit training impact MDMP? Unit training actually focuses on step 2 of the MDMP process called mission analysis, which we'll be getting involved in a couple of weeks. So basically, it's step 2 of its commander's dialogue, mission analysis back brief, step 2 of the MDMP process. How do we conduct mission analysis? The unit commander conducts the mission analysis to do 3 things: understand the guidance given by higher quarters, determine how the unit can best support that guidance, and initiate collaborative and parallel planning processes within the command. To do this, why do commanders conduct this mission analysis? What is the importance of the training guidance? I'm sorry, I backed up here. Mission analysis identifies the collective task on which the unit should focus its training. What is the importance of the training guidance? In conducting mission analysis, the unit commander identifies and understands the potential operational environment. That operational environment includes the political, military, economic, social, information infrastructure, the physical environment, time, and units with an assigned mission. That's called PME. SIIPT. You'll be hearing that a lot. And that's also coordinated with the METs, which is the mission variables. And that's mission, enemy, terrain, weather, troops, time available, and civil considerations. All these are part of this training analysis outline that you're going to be going into, and this provides the basis for your training. Determine the METs, the mission essential tasks to be trained. This is based on the battalion medal and usually found in the brigade op order under the essential tasks. Assess the METs to train. MET proficiency is usually to trained and untrained, practice training, and trained and trained, fully trained. Identify the long-range planning horizon, which is your XFAL or your CTC. The long-range planning horizon always ends up in an XFAL or a compliance exercise. Identify training readiness issues. Conducts the back brief to the higher commander with the commander's dialogue and issues the warning order. How do we determine the METs to train? Okay, through the training guidance, the warning order, or the command training guidance, the high unit commander states the tasks in your unit must accomplish, not how to do it, but what to do. The unit commander determines the best way to meet the higher commander's requirements. Commanders provide clear and ambiguous training guidance for subordinates to understand proficiency requirements and when they must be achieved. There are two fundamental questions that each commander must ask when determining the essential tasks of the METs. What is a higher mission? And of course, what does my higher commander want me to do to support that mission? Why do commanders determine the tasks to train? Where do commanders determine the tasks to train? These are identified in your specified tasks. You get them from the warning order, and they're usually a specified task, implied task, and essential tasks. Specified tasks. Usually, a specified task is a task specifically assigned to a unit by a higher headquarters. It comes paragraph 2 and 3 of the higher headquarters order, warning order. It states the specified tasks. Some tasks may be in paragraphs 4 and 5. Specified tasks may be listed in annexes and other attachments, and they may also be assigned verbally during the collaborative planning session or in directives from higher headquarters. Your implied tasks. An applied task is that must be performed to accomplish a specific mission, but is not stated in the higher headquarters specifically. Implied tasks are derived from a detailed analysis of the higher headquarters order. Our projected operational environment, the terrain, and civil considerations. Big thing, though, is your essential tasks. Those are specified and implied tasks that must be executed to accomplish the mission. The warning orders, the written order, the commanders, the written in the order, commanders training guidance. The implied tasks consider how the operational environment may determine additional implied tasks, and all commanders should strive to limit the number of essential tasks to train. And training essential tasks are for assigned mission, become the assigned mission METs. Where do you come? These are the resources now we use to get the METs and to get the medal and to actually publish your order. You have ATN, which I have provided some, we have provided some handy reference material, which is located in the Google Drive for the training strategy, for the METs themselves, from ATN and from CATS. And of course, the DTMS, the Army System of Coordinating for Capturing Training Planned and Completed. That's the digital printout. When your training plan is published, it comes out in the digital printout in DTMS, which also archives all your training. Okay. Going to break here and just go specifically into some of the METs themselves for the units, for the individual units. What we're going to do is break into your groups, and what we want to do is have you spend, I guess, another 10, 15 minutes developing your METs. They should be readily available, again, from the Google Drive, and you can absolutely get them from ATN. But develop your METs for the individual units, and just brief them back We'll give you about 10, 15 minutes and just maybe one person just brief them back really quick to us for HHC and the companies, A, B, and C.
Yep.
Any
So for
questions?
this, sorry, you guys are not supposed to have DECO and GCO on here. This might be a different slide deck. Please go to ATM so you have familiarization with it. Don't use the Google Drive for this one because I just want you guys to have familiarization with ATM because that's what you guys are going to be using when you leave here. You're not going to have them given to you on a Google Drive. So go in, mess around with it, and then just go ahead and pull up your particular METs for your companies, please. And then we'll meet back here at 10:40.
This is a handy link to ATM, by the way, which can be activated. You can use this link to get your information.